Concrete is roughly 10 times harder than natural ground. And if you walk on it every day, three hidden factors may be placing extra stress on your knees without you realizing it. The first is built into the sidewalk itself. The second may be affecting your balance every time you walk. And the third turned out to be the biggest problem for one daily walker named Mark. Surprisingly, it wasn't arthritis, it wasn't age, and it wasn't the walking itself. Mark's knee buckled on his own porch steps. He'd walked 2 miles every morning for 6 years on the same concrete sidewalk, same route, same time. Like many people, he believed walking was helping his knees. He never considered the ground beneath him. For years, he blamed arthritis. Then he blamed getting older. Sometimes he even blamed the weather. It took only a few questions from his physical therapist to uncover what was really happening. Here's suspect number 1. Most sidewalks aren't truly flat. They're built with a slight slope so rain drains toward the street. You'd never notice it by looking, but your joints may notice it after thousands of steps. Imagine wearing one shoe that's just slightly taller than the other. Not enough to see, just enough to subtly shift how force moves through your body. Every day, for years. That's essentially what can happen when you always walk the same direction on the same sloped sidewalk. Mark's route looped right every morning. The same slope, the same side, the same knee absorbing the lower step. Small forces don't need to be dramatic to matter. They only need to be repeated often enough. So he tried the obvious solution. He started walking the route in the opposite direction. It helped a little. But surprisingly, this wasn't the biggest problem. In fact, the second danger may be even more important because it affects something that becomes critical after 50: balance. Concrete is also perfectly flat. That sounds like a good thing, but it creates a hidden problem. Your stride becomes nearly identical every time. The same angle, the same landing, the same loading pattern, over and over again. Grass, dirt, and natural terrain constantly introduce small variations. Those tiny changes force the stabilizing muscles around your knees and ankles to stay active. Concrete doesn't. Over time, those stabilizers may do less work than they should. And here's why that matters. Sore knees are frustrating, but losing your balance is different. A fall can change everything. For many older adults, a fall is what transforms a manageable mobility problem into a hospital stay, or worse, a loss of independence. Those same stabilizing muscles help catch you when you stumble. They're your body's built-in backup system. And if they're undertrained, recovery becomes harder. This is one reason physical therapists often use uneven terrain during balance training. It's intentional. The instability is the exercise. Out of everything on this list, this is the one I would have guessed was doing the most damage. I would have been wrong, because while this issue matters, it wasn't the biggest reason Mark's knee kept getting worse. Something far more ordinary was quietly making both problems worse at the same time, something most people never think to check. But before we get there, there's one more hidden trap built directly into the concrete itself. It's what engineers call impact deflection. Asphalt has a small amount of flexibility. It absorbs a tiny portion of the force generated with each step. Concrete doesn't. Concrete is rigid. It gives almost nothing back. That means more of the force travels upward through your heel, into your shin, and ultimately into your knees. In simple terms, your joints end up doing work that the ground refused to do. And yet, despite everything we've covered so far, none of it turned out to be the biggest reason Mark's knee kept getting worse. The biggest culprit was something he wore every single day, something that looked perfectly fine from the outside, but was quietly losing its ability to protect his knees. When his physical therapist asked how old his walking shoes were, Mark almost laughed. They still looked brand new. That was the problem. Concrete was always going to be hard. That part was never going to change. The real question was what stood between his knees and all that hardness. For nearly 2 years, the answer was less and less. Shoe cushioning breaks down on the inside long before visible wear appears on the outside. A shoe can look excellent and still provide very little shock absorption. And here's where everything connects. Worn-out cushioning doesn't just reduce comfort, it can also reduce the quality of feedback your feet send to the muscles responsible for balance and stability. Less feedback, slower reactions, more stress. This one issue had quietly been amplifying the others. Out of the sidewalk slope, the flat terrain, and the shoes, this turned out to be the biggest contributor, and it looked completely harmless. The good news is that fixing it doesn't require expensive footwear. A $50 pair replaced on time will often protect your knees better than a $200 pair worn for years beyond its lifespan. A practical rule is to replace daily walking shoes every 300 to 500 miles, even if they still appear new. And here's a simple test. Press your thumb firmly into the middle of the sole. If it barely compresses, the cushioning may already be wearing out. Mileage still matters, but it's a useful first clue. One more thing. If your cushioning is gone, don't immediately buy the softest shoe you can find. That's another common mistake. Extremely soft shoes can feel wonderful in the store, but on hard concrete, they may allow the foot to sink too deeply. That can increase instability and force the stabilizing muscles to work even harder. Instead, look for structured cushioning, shock absorption under the heel, stability underneath the foot, comfort without excessive wobbling. So what happened when Mark made the changes? First, he replaced his shoes. Second, he started alternating the direction of his walking route. Third, he added one walk each week on grass at a nearby park. The results weren't instant. Some days were still difficult, but gradually the difficult days became less frequent and the good days became easier. He didn't stop walking, he didn't need medication, and he didn't need a knee replacement. His story isn't a guarantee, but it is a reminder that small changes applied consistently can produce meaningful results over time. So here's the short version. Check your shoes. Replace them every 300 to 500 miles. Alternate your walking direction whenever possible, and once a week trade concrete for a surface with a little more give underfoot. 5 minutes of adjustments, potentially years of difference. If you're dealing with ongoing knee pain, consider speaking with your doctor or a physical therapist. They can evaluate your specific situation and help you find the safest approach. And remember, this video isn't about walking less. Walking remains one of the best things you can do for your joints, your balance, and your long-term independence. The goal was never to stop walking. The goal is to stop letting the ground decide what happens to your knees. The railing never changed. The sidewalk never changed. Mark simply changed the things he could control. He still carries groceries up those same porch steps. He still reaches for the railing once in a while. He just doesn't need it anymore. If you found this video helpful, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy practical, evidence-informed advice about mobility, healthy aging, and protecting your joints, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching and take care of yourself.